So, today we're diving into one of the most influential groups in all of history, the 12 Apostles. But we're going to look past the stained glass windows and see them for who they really were, a handpicked, and let's be honest, a pretty unlikely team at the absolute center of a movement that would completely change the world. And that's really the big question here, isn't it? How on earth did a group of regular guys with such humble and frankly conflicting backgrounds become the foundational pillars of Christianity? Their story is just an incredible tale of transformation, and that's exactly what we're going to unpack. You know, their journey didn't just happen by chance. It all started with a very deliberate, very symbolic choice that signaled the beginning of something brand new.
Right, so that number, 12, was absolutely not random. For everyone at the time, it was this super powerful symbol that pointed right back to the restoration of the 12 tribes of Israel. So choosing 12 guys sent a clear message. This was a new beginning. And what was their main job? Simple: to be the closest witnesses to everything: his life, his teachings, his death, and, critically, his resurrection.
Okay, so who were these 12 men, really? Well, they were anything but a uniform group. We're talking about a diverse and, you have to imagine, a sometimes volatile mix of personalities and backgrounds, a real motley crew. Just look at the variety on this team. You've got fishermen like Peter and Andrew, the backbone of the local economy. But then you throw Matthew into the mix, a tax collector, a guy who was basically despised for working with the Roman occupiers. And in the very same group, you have Simon the Zealot, who was likely part of a radical political party that wanted to overthrow the Romans. Can you even imagine the tension between those two? This wasn't just a random bunch of guys. It was a team built from opposites, maybe to prove that this new movement was for absolutely everyone. And right there, in that one small group, you've got the absolute extremes of what people are capable of. On one hand, you have Peter, the guy designated as the leader, the very foundation. And on the other, Judas, a name that is now literally synonymous with betrayal. This internal drama just goes to show you the immense pressure and the sky-high stakes they were all dealing with. I mean, this line right here, it's a total game changer. It's the moment that takes Peter, a simple fisherman, and elevates him to the designated leader of this entire movement. The weight of that responsibility must have been immense, and it really did set the stage for everything that came next. So, with Peter set up as the leader, this huge weight now rests on all these men. But how did this argumentative group of followers, who, let's face it, often misunderstood what Jesus was even saying, turn into the founders of a global faith? Well, their evolution wasn't slow and steady. It was forged in a rapid-fire, dramatic series of events that tested them to their absolute limits. This timeline really shows how they were completely shattered and then rebuilt. It starts with this intimate final meal. Then, in an instant, their whole world just collapses with the betrayal and crucifixion. They scatter, they're terrified, but the resurrection changes everything, turning that despair into this powerful belief. And finally, you get to Pentecost, which is the event that just ignites them into action. And then comes Pentecost. This is the moment the switch just flips. According to the story, they were filled with this divine power that gave them the boldness to go out and speak to huge, diverse crowds. For Christians, this isn't just some historical footnote. It's the birthday of the church itself. It's the moment the mission truly, finally began. So, now they're empowered, they're emboldened, and the apostles set off on their life's work. But this wasn't going to be some easy victory tour. No. This was a mission that was defined by constant danger and, ultimately, sacrifice. Their mission was crystal clear, but incredibly difficult. They traveled all over the known world, spreading the story of Jesus. And this wasn't just about preaching. They were building networks of believers, what we'd now call churches. And they did all of this while under the constant threat of being arrested and executed by authorities who saw this whole message of a new king and a new kingdom as a direct threat to their power. And that threat? Oh, it was very, very real. This number 11 represents the traditional count of the original apostles, not including Judas, who were martyred for their faith. We're talking about being stoned, crucified, and killed in all sorts of brutal ways. Their willingness to die for what they believed is, for many people, the ultimate proof of just how unwavering their conviction really was. So the apostles didn't just die for their cause. They built something that was designed to outlast them. Their legacy is literally embedded in the structure and the core beliefs of Christianity as we know it today. To make sure their work wouldn't just fizzle out, they set up a plan for the future. It's a system we now call apostolic succession. The whole idea was to create this unbroken chain of leadership, passing their authority down from one generation of bishops to the next. And that structure became a cornerstone for major traditions like the Catholic, Orthodox, and Anglican churches.
But it wasn't just about leadership structure, it was about the ideas themselves. Their core teachings were eventually distilled into one of the earliest and most universal statements of faith, the Apostles' Creed. Now, it was probably written down after they were gone, but it's named for them because it perfectly summarizes the fundamental things they preached. It created this unified belief system that could connect communities across huge distances.
So we end up right back where we started. We see this group that had doubters like Thomas, and even deniers like Peter, who totally abandoned his leader in a moment of fear. And yet, these are the guys who became the unshakable foundation of a faith that now has billions of followers. Their story really forces you to ask, what does that kind of radical transformation tell us about the sheer world-altering power of a compelling message?